Hi everybody, this is the Baseball Hut, the amazing, spectacular, terrific, the great one, the people's champion, your host, the Hut, and welcome back to the Baseball Hut. We're talking about the New York Mets. I got a little interesting little tidbit for you in this video. It's more than a tidbit, it's the entire video, if you can tell from the title of it. I haven't come up with it yet, but it's about Justin Verlander. But before we get into that, I need you to subscribe and like it. And I also need you to subscribe to the Prospect Hut. And the reason is very simple, is because of Justin Verlander and Max Scherzer not being here. We got more young players here, and we're going to talk about them a lot. But here we go. Now, as you know, something was off about this 2023 New York Mets team. None of us could really quite put our fingers on it, and I think a lot of people sort of came to the conclusion, and a lot of people that observed the team inside, the media and the reporters, that there was a real problem with chemistry. Now, Keith Hernandez says the thing about chemistry is, can you trust the other guy to come through to pick me up? Is the other guy in the lineup, or the next guy that comes out of the bullpen, or the next guy that's going to pitch either later on in the game or the next day going to pick me up and pick up this team? Where's that trust there? So I think chemistry is a little bit different. You have good players. The chemistry is more than just you get along in the clubhouse. Also, performance on the field, and one hand washes the other with that stuff. You can discuss it in the comments what you think chemistry is and stuff. It's sort of a nondescript. We saw it last year. There was a lot of chemistry in the Met clubhouse. There was a lot of trust there, but there was a big problem, obviously, with this team and really the 2021 team. To be honest with you, I won't get into that. But we got a lot of reports now surfacing about the issues in the Met clubhouse. And it surrounds Justin Verlander, which I was extremely surprised about, because he left he didn't say anything crazy. He said actually some very nice things leaving the Met organization to go back to Houston. But there's like a report out there from, from MLB Insider Mike Puma. But I'm going to read you from SNY. Headline: Justin Verlander responds to diva comments, analytics department criticism from unnamed former Mets teammate. Oh, we love the former Mets teammate. We love the Met teammate, the unnamed guy. We love that guy. According to a report, there was still occasional discord between Verlander and Max Scherzer. Well, that was an issue in the past when they played in Detroit together. That was a major problem. Justin Verlander has already made 2 starts with the Astros since the Mets traded him back to Houston ahead of the August 1st deadline. But his brief tenure in New York is once again a topic of conversation. Now, Justin was only here, 4 months? He wasn't here that long. An unnamed Met told Mike Puma of the New York Post that Verlander was a diva. Now, I would mention he is married to one of the biggest divas in the history of Sports Illustrated. Who was largely detached from his Mets teammates and often get this. Let me read this again, slower. This is from an unnamed Met. Verlander was a diva who was largely detached from his Mets teammates and often complained about how the team's analytics department was inferior to the one he worked with in Houston. That's not professional. If that's true about complaining about people that are, guys that are 9-to-5 guys and putting in a lot of overtime to help these players, that's not professional. If he has an issue with the analytics department, should have went to Buck or should have went to Billy Epler and not complained to the other players. You do not do that. The 40-year-old Verlander took to social media on Monday, seemingly responding to those allegations from an unnamed member of the Mets. What's interesting is he admits it. Quote, I want to say that I have nothing but respect for the Mets organization and enjoy connecting with all of my teammates this year, new and old. It truly was a wonderful group of people, Verlander posted on X, Twitter. That being said, we all know the success of a team is made up of more than just the players on the field. Everyone's input is valuable. I'm sorry to hear that a staff member took offense to constructive criticism on how we could improve. He's talking about a teammate. Because I don't think he would have said anything to the analytics department. He probably said to another teammate. Wishing nothing but the best to the Mets moving forward, he wrote. According to Puma, it was this diva attitude that caused some uneasiness between Verlander and Max Scherzer, who had a history of butting heads dating back to their time together in Detroit. This unnamed Met told Puma that the 23 clubhouse had a different feel than the previous season, when Scherzer and former Met Chris Bassitt enjoyed sharing information and helping younger pitchers, such as David Peterson and Tyler McGill. Now 53 and 65, and having already been traded away both Verlander and Scherzer, the Mets have pivoted away from championship aspirations for this year to shift focus to the future, revamping the farm system in the process by adding 5 new members to their top 10 prospects list, according to MLB Pipeline. Well, this is very fascinating to me, because you always want to know what makes a team a winning team and a losing team. So here we have a future Hall of Famer. He has an ego, but he's not, and pitchers are weird. Pitchers aren't like Max Scherzer that is very giving to younger players. Most pitchers are on an island. But other pitchers were not like this with the Mets. As far as I know, Jacob deGrom was not like this here with the Mets. And he's a connection to the Mets' past, because he played with David Wright, and David Wright played with Mike Piazza, Todd Zeile, Robin Ventura. They taught him well, and they taught deGrom well. But when you bring in these older this is the thing about bringing in older players, is that you get this kind of nasty, weird attitude that the Mets got with Verlander. That's just a shame to read this. This is a shame to read this, and he acknowledges it. He acknowledges it. Instead, he called it, constructive criticism. If you complain about the analytics department, again, you go to your boss. You go to Buck. You go to Billy Epler. You don't go and complain to other players. You don't do that. So you're talking about very unprofessional behavior, and this is the second instance now over the past week that if you've been following this channel where I've talked about unprofessional attitudes within the Met clubhouse. The other one we saw, if you watched the game last week, on Wednesday, the Mets win against the Cubs, the second win against the Cubs, that Adam Ottavino showed up Buck Showalter when he took him off the mound. He said, "I can't believe this." So we've seen 2 instances of a lack of professionalism go in the Met clubhouse by 2 guys that are veterans, and older veterans too. Verlander's 40 years old. He should know better. Adam Ottavino's 36 years old. He should know better. But you want to know why this team did not gel, this team didn't work? Because you didn't have these other guys that were very professional, like Chris Bassitt, very serious about pitching. I think we all know that. And other guys, that element, it's very important to have that element in there. So obviously, not having that element and replacing it with this element of pointing fingers, and not believing, you're not pitching well, you're not hitting, and you're pointing at somebody else and say, "I can't believe this." That tells you why the Mets are where they are, and why they have the 6th worst record in baseball, and why there's a good chance they're half game in front of the Nationals and a half game out of last place. Okay, and how many games behind the Braves? Are they 30 games behind the Braves? That's how things spiral out of control. And didn't it spiral out of control in June? When after a month of Verlander being here, that's when it really fell apart, is in June. After he got warmed up in May, and everything spiraled out of control very, very quickly, didn't it? Interestingly enough. Well, this is a little short video for you. Give you something to chew on. Now, a lot of blame to go around. Max Scherzer screwed up a lot of games. He blew a lot of games that the Mets needed to win. But it's funny, we all thought that these 2 guys had gotten over this sort of back and forth that they had in Detroit. But apparently it destroyed this clubhouse. You got guys that haven't been here that long, but you got guys that have a lot of gravitas when they walk in the room. This must have completely ripped apart the clubhouse. It must have. Well, you let me know what you think about this video. It's not a rant, it's just sort of discussion of chemistry and stuff, and hope you like it. And of course, please subscribe to Prospect Hut. Thanks guys for being such a bad team. Brought in some prospects and helped that little channel out. Put the link in the description. And of course, please subscribe to this channel, and thank you for watching, and I'll see you later.